Good morning, Year Six. Hope you've got that Friday feeling. Another week has flown by. Goodness me, where's time going? It's time to have a little look at how well you have learnt your spelling list this week. Remember, we've been looking at the suffix CIAL, or one of the ways of spelling it, a hint for what's coming up next week. And I'm sure that I'm going to see lots of 10s out of 10. Remember, there's two ways that you can do your spelling test. You can do it either on Edshed and send me a screenshot, or you can use your purple book and get somebody in your house, your mum, your dad, your great aunt Mabel, to test you and then send me your score in. I'm looking forward to seeing how you get on. Pause the video, do your test. Okay, Year Six. We have been continuing to have a little look at our handwriting. And what I want to look at today is I've spotted a few funny R's, a few R's being joined at the bottom rather than the top. So I have chosen three words out of our uh, list of spellings, and we're going to have a little go with those. But first, we're going to have a little look at how we join an R. We lead up to the R, down, back round. And then this part is where it will lead on to the next letter. Let's try again. So up, down, back round. Up, down, back round. Okay, and it's that part that leads on. Okay, some of you are going down here for some reason. Not quite sure why. So let's have a look at our words then. So we've got artificial. Okay, so here we go. We lead into the A, then into the R, T, I, F, I, C, I, A, L. And then we can dot and cross. So can you see my R is joining at the top, all right? And then we've got multiracial. So I'm going to leave a line because I've got an F there and I don't want you to get muddled up. So move my board up. Here we go. So lead into the M, into the U, L, T, I. Then I'm into my R, A, C, I, A, L. Then I can dot and cross where I need to. So my R is joining at the top, not down here. Okay. Right, last word, we've got crucial. So lead into the C, R, U, C, I, A, L. And again, my R is joined at the top. All right. So you won't need to do, because we've done the spelling test, you won't need to do an extra page in your spelling book. Because we're doing this in your purple book, you won't need to do an extra page in your handwriting. Okay. All you need to do is purple book, today's date, Friday, the 5th of February, and then you're going to put, can I practice my handwriting? 2 lines of R's, then artificial, multiracial, and crucial. Pause the video, off you go. Okay, I am so excited about this part. I love Shakespeare, absolutely love it. So it can be a little bit tricky though, the language. So we're going to have a little bit of fun before we get into our text with our starter, in that we are going to write some Shakespearean style insults. So what I've got are some Shakespearean words. So the words that might appear in Shakespeare's plays, or certainly would have been heard around in Shakespeare's time, okay, in the 1500s. So we've got lily-livered, that means you are cowardly. Scoundrel, that means you're a cheat. Loon, you're a crazy person. Begone, go away. Poisonous, that means you're nasty. Rotten, you're horrible. Impertinent means you're rude. Verily, you might say truly. So verily, okay. Thou, you, art, are. And then I've put some things on the side, bit of fun. Okay, so we've got cucumber, bean, salamander, frog, mouse, and catfish. So you can have a little go at some Shakespearean insults. I'm going to show you the kind of thing I'm after. Okay, so I have got, verily, thou art a lily-livered scoundrel. Okay, so somebody might be saying that truly you are a cowardly rotter. Okay, a cheat, a cowardly cheat. And then, be gone, thou impertinent cucumber. Okay, so you can have a little bit of fun today having a go at some Shakespearean insults. I'm really looking forward to these. So really go to town, have some fun. Let's see how many insults. Can you do an insult for every single blue item listed? So cucumber, bean, salamander, frog, mouse, catfish. Okay, can you use all of those and create some excellent Shakespearean insults? Pause the video, off you go. Okay, I'm really looking forward to seeing pictures of those in your purple books. I'm sure that they're going to be absolutely amazing. So we're going to have a little look now at pages 30 and 31, and we're not going to be doing all of the questions today. We're going to be doing 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, okay, because you've spent a little bit of time doing your Shakespearean insults and you've got a bit of a challenge coming up that includes a bit of writing in it. So we're not going to do all of the questions today. So let's have a little look at the text then. So have your text, your book in front of you, book 6, and you're looking at page 30 and 31. I'm going to get it up on here so I can read it through. Okay, so let's have a little look then. Right, so Shakespeare, obviously one of the most famous and perhaps one of the most important playwrights that England has ever known. He lived more than 400 years ago, and this play, it's called Macbeth, but in the theatre you wouldn't dare say the name because it's meant to bring bad luck. So in the theatre world they would refer to it as the Scottish play. The reason behind that is I think that people performed the play and talked about it, and lots of superstitions arose from it because maybe, I don't know, the leading actor fell ill or something, or some scenery fell down, and so in the theatre world it's known as the Scottish play. So in this scene we've got Macbeth and his friend Banquo, and they're travelling to the town of Forres, where they meet 3 witches, and nasty pieces of work they are. Okay, so it's a play, obviously, so we've got some stage directions, we've got who is saying it, and then we have got a glossary at the bottom to help us with some of the words. And of course, you've come across some of the words in your Shakespearean insults as well. So let's have a look. So enter Macbeth and Banquo. So Macbeth says, "So foul and fair a day I have not seen." Okay, so, I've not seen such a day like this. Okay. Banquo says, "How far is't called to Forres? What are these, so withered and so wild in their attire, that look not like the inhabitants of the earth, and yet are on't? Live you, or are you aught that man may question? You seem to understand me. By each at once her choppy finger laying upon her skinny lips, you should be women, and yet your beards forbid me to interpret that you are so." So they spotted these very strange looking women, that they're not sure if they're women or not because they're wearing very interesting clothing. They don't know if they're living inhabitants of the earth or whether there's some kind of supernatural creature. I can tell that you understand me, because you've sort of, you've gone like this. You put your finger on your lip, but I think you're a woman, but you've got a beard. So he's very confused. So Macbeth then says, "Speak if you can. What are you?" So we've got the first witch. "All hail Macbeth. Hail to thee, Thane of Glamis." Okay, so if you look in your thesaurus at the bottom of your glossary, sorry, it will tell you that it's a person. A thane is a person that belongs to, that holds some of the king's land. So he's a rich noble. Okay, he's a rich noble, and so Thane of Glamis. And the second witch then says, "All hail Macbeth. Hail to thee, Thane of Cawdor." So she's mentioning another place where he's got some land. And then the third witch says, "All hail Macbeth, that shalt be king hereafter." So Macbeth isn't the king. There's a king already on the throne, but these three witches look as if they're making a prophecy that Macbeth is going to become the king. Oh, so Banquo says, rise it up a little bit so we can see. "Good sir, why do you start and seem to fear things that do sound so fair? If name of truth, are ye fantastical, or that indeed which outwardly ye show? My noble partner, you greet with present grace and great prediction of noble having and of royal hope, that he seems rapt withal. To me you speak not. If you can look into the seeds of time and say which grain will grow and which will not, speak then to me, who neither beg nor fear your favours nor your hate." So what he's saying is, okay, here. So he looks at Macbeth and he's thinking, well, why are you, why are you fearing what's being said here? And he then turns and he's looking at the witches and he's saying, "Are you imaginary? Okay. You've told that the person who I'm traveling with, my noble partner, you've told him some predictions of him being, of having, land and even being hope, of being king, sorry, a royal hope. And so that rapt with all means he's amazed. He's so stunned. He can't, he doesn't know what to say about that. Okay, so to me you speak not. So you're not saying anything about me. So I think he's a little bit put out. You're not telling me what's going to happen to me. You've told him. So is there anything going on? Am I going to have a bit of money or a bit of land? That's what he's really asking there. Okay. And then the first witch says hail, and the second witch says hail, and the third witch says hail. Okay, so they're greeting him, and So as I say, you've got the glossary at the bottom. Okay, so we talked through some of those already. Attire, we talked about what they're wearing is clothes. The alt, that's back up here. It says there with live you or are you anything? So what I said, are you alive or are you some mystical creature? Perhaps they think they're ghosts or there's just something very strange in this on their journey, that they've not come across anything like it. Okay, so a little bit tricky, but when you get into the language you can sort of unpick it a little bit. So we're going to have a little look at the questions, and because it's so tricky, I'm going to give you a few little pointers in the right direction, so you're going to be able to have a little look at them. Now remember, we are not doing all of the questions. So if I show you again, okay, we are doing 2, 3, 4, 5, and 7. Okay, so let's have a look at 2, 3, 4, 5, and 7. So I'm going to turn my sheet over. Let's have a look. And question 2 then says, in your own words, describe what the witches look like. Now, this is a 2-mark question. So there are some hints in the text. All right. So we know that they are wild in their attire. So they're wearing wild clothing. It's, you know, it's sort of old and it's with a bit. It's, you know, it just looks grubby. Perhaps it's ripped. Perhaps it's, you know, perhaps they're wearing skins and, you know, all sorts of things. So there's that. They've got skinny lips. Okay. People can't make out whether they are real or, you know, some kind of imaginary, fantastical creature. Okay. And they've got beards as well. So very strange looking women. Okay. Not what you would expect. All right. So let's have a look then at the next question. So 3. Why is Banquo uncertain whether the witches are men or women? Okay, we've given a clue with that last bit about the beards. Okay, men in Shakespearean times would have worn beards, but it's a little bit unusual to find a woman with a beard. So you might want to think about that for your answer here. So what does line 16 tell you about Macbeth's reaction to the witch's prophecy that he will become king? Okay, he isn't king, but so let's have a look at line 16. So it says, good sir, why do you start and seem to fear things that do sound so fair? Its name of truth, are you imaginary, or that indeed which outwardly ye show? Okay, so here he seems to be a little bit, you know, he's can't believe what he's seeing and hearing. And Banquo says, good sir, why do you start and seem to fear? You look afraid. Okay, you're trembling a little bit. So think about his reaction there. I've given you some hints on what you might want to include in that particular question. Okay, so then if we have a little look here, we've got question 5. Find and copy a phrase from line 16 to 21 that shows that Banquo isn't sure whether the witches are real or not. Now, you might need to look at your glossary because there's a clue word in there that means imaginary. And you will find the phrase then if you look at that. Remember, a phrase is very short, okay? Usually about 3 words, okay? And very often does not include a verb in it. So have a little look somewhere, line 16 to 21, if I turn over my sheet again. So, good sir, why do you start and seem to fear things that do sound so fair? In the name of truth, are ye fantastical, or that indeed which outwardly ye show? So somewhere in that little block I've said, look at your glossary, look back here, I'm sure you're going to find the phrase. Okay, so let's have a little look then at the next question. Okay, question 7. Okay, do you think Banquo is afraid of the witches? Now, this is a 2-mark question. So if you have a look at the text, okay, so up here, you know, he's talking. Banquo does all the talking to the witches, if you notice. Okay, apart from one little line from Macbeth, he just says, "Speak if you can. What are you?" But much of the chatting on here goes. Banquo is doing that. The chatting. Okay, so is he afraid of them by talking to them? What does he say? Okay, so he here is questioning who they are. You know, are you women? Are you real? Okay. Here he's saying, well, you've told my partner, the person I'm traveling with, you've told them some really good news. What about me? Okay, what are you telling me? So is that the sound of somebody who is frightened of these three witches? Okay. You might want to think about what I've just said. So he does all the talking. He actually challenges them about, well, what's going to happen to me? You've told him lots of good news. Well, have a little look. Tell me what's my fortune? What am I going to look forward to? So does that sound like somebody who's frightened of them? Now, remember, in this kind of question, you need to use a quote and back it up sorry, you need to use a quote to back up, to support your ideas. So I would be looking in that particular answer for something like, I think Banquo isn't afraid, or I think Banquo is afraid, because it says in the text. Put your quote, remember inverted commas, and then say, this shows that. Okay, so it is quite a tricky text today, but hopefully going through it as we have, you're going to be able to answer those questions. So let me go back to the questions that you are going to answer. Okay, so you are going to answer 2, 3, 4, 5, and 7. We have gone through really, really carefully those, handy hints to help you with those. Then I've set you a little challenge. I want you to look at Banquo's speech that begins, how far, and then carries on to that you are so. All right, it's that first little speech he makes. Okay. I want you to think, what would that look like in modern English? So I would like you to have a little go at rewriting it as we would say it today. So if I have a little look at that first bit, I'll just help you a little bit. It says, how far is called to Forres? What are these? So we would say, how far is it to Forres? We say that little bit differently to him. Okay, and then he says, what are these? So we might say, who is that in the forest? I'm going to write far again, because if you notice, my F was not fantastic there. Okay, so there we go. All right, so here we go. How far? Much better. How far is it to Forest? Who is that in the forest? So you are going to have a little go. That's a challenge. So you're going to have a go at those questions 2, 3, 4, 5, 7 in your book. Then you are going to have a go in your purple book at your challenge. All right. Changing the style. So we're going from Shakespearean English. Okay. So at the beginning of the lesson, we had a go at our Shakespearean insults. So we were writing in Shakespearean English. Now we're going to have a go at converting, changing Shakespearean language to modern day English. A lovely way to end the week. All right, I'm so looking forward to seeing what you get up to and to see your work. Have a lovely weekend, everybody, and I will see you on Monday. Have fun with the activities. Bye.